So we'll call the meeting to order. It's 4:30. Thank you all for coming. We'll dive right into our agenda. Our first order of business is to amend and approve the minutes from our public session on April 17th, 2014. Anybody care to make a motion to approve the minutes from April 17th?
Second.
Did you guys get a chance to go through them? Yep. Okay. Any amendments to the minutes?
Well, I know this, I don't interrupt you. I do have a correction I was going to talk about later, but if you want to listen to it now.
Okay.
It would help. I think it would help you.
You can go right ahead.
I get these minutes a couple of days ago. I was reading through the minutes, and there's a place there where they're talking, the Goudreau and fire chief are talking, and it says Fire Chief Agent Henry pointed out Jackson has had 4 contractors, I think building contractors, inspectors in the past 5 years. He says it's not working. But I want to have you, if you want to look at the minutes and correct them. Andy Chalmers began working here somewhere around 2005-06 with Bergeron. Then in 2009, Andy was our full-time building inspector. Because it happened, he was here before I left. So he was here at least from the middle of 2009 till the beginning of 2014. This is just for the historical records check, because he was here 5 years on his own. I mean, as our building inspector.
So maybe the time frame was wrong. I do believe that we had for a while there was a large turnover of building inspectors, and I think maybe the age, the time frame change may have been.
From 04 to 06 or early 07, we had 3 or 4. There were 2 Seans, Dick Bennett, and I think maybe
one more. And we got Carr. That's who it was.
Carr.
The guy from MRI.
And then Bergeron came in.
And then
we got in trouble there, and Bergeron left. Andy was working with them, took over in 2009. I'm not exactly the date,
right,
but 2009 to 14, just for the record. That's all.
And there was the guy from MRI.
You can check it on the payroll records.
So, just to be clear, the minutes are to accurately portray what happened during the meeting. And so if somebody said something during the meeting that wasn't factual by your account, then that's what they did. But our job to approve the minutes is to make sure that what was said in the meeting is captured in the minutes.
Oh, that's fine. Whatever. I just didn't want to take
Okay. Anybody have any amendments to the minutes?
No, yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Very good. Thank you. And thanks for the historical perspective on that. Gino? Item number 2 on the agenda is to go through the action items from our April 17th meeting. Bill, you've got 3 action items on there. We're going to talk to Goody about life safety recommendations. Is the first bullet.
What was I going to talk to him about life safety? I don't remember.
I'll look back.
I don't know what life safety recommendation.
All right.
I did check with the police on regarding the treasure deposits. And that was the treasurer talked with her. So that seems to be okay at this point. I would like to update on the building inspector. We wrote letters to both of the current engineering firm and Kevin saying we're going to repost. It doesn't mean you're eliminated, but we're going to repost because of the limited number of applicants that came in on the first one. So we repost, adjusted the posting, sent it out, and as far as I know, as of yesterday, we had no response, right? So the alternatives at this point, we think are, we understand that the building inspector in Berlin was let go because of budget cuts, is that what happened?
Right.
And Gorham has a building inspector for 2 days a week. So we have that opportunity to go see if we cannot get them interested in spending, say, 2 days over here a week, assuming they, are the qualified people. So the next step would be to go to meet with those two and see if we can organize a qualified person who would be willing to do it. But we had no, right now, as of today, I guess we have no bidders on the job. It's still open until, what, the 5th?
Till today. I think today.
May 1st?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they can,
Well-
if the ad closed today, then they can
Yes.
respond by the 6th.
Was there a
So,
date in the ad?
Yes.
Was it today?
Today's the close of when the ad was posted, and they can respond up until the 6th.
Until the 6th.
Yeah.
but it's somewhat discouraging. I would have thought we'd had at least one by now. So we didn't, so the chances are probably not getting it. So that leaves this possibility with, maybe with Berlin and maybe with Gorham to get those guys interested, ask them for a resume maybe to see if they meet the qualifications and see if they'd be interested.
And that was recommended that we do that with, I spoke to John Jutton at MRI, and he said a lot of times towns are starting to share, so we would just simply pay, for instance, Gorham as a vendor for the use of, well, I guess in this case, because it's part-time, maybe it would be different, but if there were someone full-time that were gonna come to us a couple days a week, we would just pay them as a vendor.
So those are the kind of what's on the horizon, and I apologize, I don't know what talk to Goody about safety recommendations were.
Okay, well, we just carry it
I'll
over.
try to find out, okay?
Any questions about any of those? So, who met?
Who met?
Who was part of the group that met and discussed what to do?
We haven't had a group meeting, we don't have any applicants, so.
When you said that you are discussing with Gorham whether.
Oh, no, we haven't, we're to say that would be our next step, we haven't discussed with anybody.
Oh,
No, it came up today, or yesterday, that's a possibility. We didn't do anything without coming here and talking about it first. And unless somebody doesn't want to do it, that would be the next step, is to see if either of those people would meet the qualifications, see if they're interested.
So I guess my question would be, does this inspector in Gorham and the fellow that worked in Berlin, are they aware of the opening and have they chosen not to apply? I mean, it almost sounds like it's the next step of recruiting. And not that recruiting is
As far as I know,
that's what
they
it
haven't
sounds
applied. We don't have anybody apply.
like. Right, so, I guess, is that the next best step, is to recruit?
We're here to discuss that. That's
Okay.
why I'm here.
Got it.
As my offer, after getting no applicants, and some reservation with only 2 interested parties before, was my update today is the option that we have, I think now, are these 2 possible options. After that, then we're maybe back to the first 2 candidates. I don't know.
Okay. How do you feel about that, John?
I think we gotta beat the bushes a little bit.
Reach out.
Yeah, I think it might be necessary to kind of extend an arm to somebody who might be able to help us out there.
And Conway was also mentioned as one of the possibilities, and at the meeting today that I had, I didn't get a chance to speak with them about it, but hopefully tomorrow.
Do you want me to go ahead and pursue this and see if I can, what contact I can make with them, see where it goes?
John's up for it? Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, I just wanted clarification, just because it does seem like we're making we're taking it to the next level here, of reaching out, and so, I think, did you leave him here today feeling like you've got support to do that?
Okay.
Did you get your action items done?
Yeah, I actually have a lot.
I got mine done. Julie, the question of when we last spent money at Whitney's Pond was on your.
Well, I was
action
going to
item.
answer that, but Jay's here.
All right, Jay, you want to sit up here, or are you good where you are?
Well, it seems like we discuss this every 3 months.
I know.
This was discussed on 9/9/2013. To answer the question, I guess 2012, 2013, we didn't spend any money. We spent a little bit of time doing some cleanup after the complaint from DES and everything that we ended up, we did some cleanup, some loaming and seeding, some raking, stuff like that. Didn't really spend any hard cash other than
Okay.
maybe a few bales of hay.
No hard cash in
Beyond that, it gets into the history that we seem to have talked about every 3 months.
Okay.
So I guess we'll talk about it again in another 3 months.
Well, the only question was money, and so your answer is 0. Okay. That's it? Excellent. And Julie, the answer on the insurance?
There's actually a printout later on
Okay,
about
I
that.
noticed that's here, so, okay. Great. Excellent. Were you gonna have a look at Wiggy's Pond? Did you mention that to me?
Well, I just wrote a note to myself here about DES. We heard back from them on that. That was,
From DES about Whitney's?
yes.
The last was the notice that I think we read last meeting.
Right.
So I haven't heard anything here from that.
So I went up there and looked it over the other day. It looked fine to me. I didn't see any issues with bags or anything like that. I don't know if they cleaned them up or even put them out there this year. I missed it.
Okay.
Did you see any sandbags?
I'm sure they put some out.
Yeah, but they're gone now.
Yeah, I haven't.
I think what I was planning on doing is the day of the cleanup, I was gonna walk the river and walk Great Brook and see what I can find up there. Done that many years ago, so.
I'm keeping my eye open on the golf course, haven't seen anything.
Yeah,
But I haven't been downstream.
that was my plan anyway.
Okay, good. Thank you. No action items for Julie. And our May meetings will be held on the 1st and the 15th, 4:30 p.m., right here in the town office. And Burr Transfer Station options.
I just left that on there because he said it was going to take him like a month or so to.
Yeah, so I was gonna keep.
No one's heard from him yet.
No.
So he's still within his time
Yes.
estimate, so. Can we give you that as an action item?
So just follow
To
up with
just,
him?
at some point between now and the next meeting, if you could give him a call and just get a sense on how he's progressing with that,
Sure.
that'd be great. All right. Great. Moving on to agenda item number 3 is public comment. Anybody in the audience have anything they'd like to add to the record at this point? I have other chances. Yeah.
Well, the
Nino.
only thing is, will that be in the record, the comments that I made earlier?
It was in public session, so I believe, Martha's pretty sharp. I can't imagine her missing it, so.
I just wanna make sure that-
Yeah, she said yes, it will be.
Refer it back to it and check the dates if you want.
Okay. Police report. Jay, you want to give the police report? Sure. All right. Looks like we'll either deal with that later on, or they could be out protecting and serving right now for all we
I
know.
just saw them right up the hill as I was coming down, so.
Lights on?
No.
They got, they'll catch up with us when it's our turn. Item 5, highway truck.
I got a bunch of stuff too.
Okay.
I'll do that first.
Sure.
You've got all the stuff.
Okay.
All I know is there were sealed bids that came to the office to Julie, so I really don't have any idea about any of it.
Okay.
Got 5 bids. Want to open them now? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, time to do it.
Open them up. Stuff like that. Okay. Who was your guy I talked to down at Northeast Auto Body? Eric Walker. Yeah. All right. Who wants to start? Okay. John, Here's a bid that we got from R. Brooks Excavating, North Hill Road, Stewartstown, New Hampshire. Bid to the town of Jackson for 2005 7400 Series International Plow Truck. He's bidding $33,000. We have a bid here from Oak Dyke Inc., Truck and Equipment Sales, out of Hatfield, Pennsylvania, located at 3123 Bethlehem Pike. And their bid for the unit, 2005 7400 4x4 truck. Their bid is $46,600. We've got one here from Deprizio GMC Trucks. Deprizio GMC Trucks is located in Middleton, New Hampshire. Town of Jackson, bid on the 2005 International. Deprizio GMC Trucks is pleased to offer the town of Jackson the amount of $32,000 for the truck. Town of Brownfield. Town of Brownfield submitting a bid for the amount of $36,725 for the truck. Charles Day, Public Works Director. And the final bid is from Fred Henry, F&J Excavating. Submitted a bid for the 2005 International Truck, $27,000. And I guess that my first reaction is, obviously these are bids only, and I don't really know that we can say how binding any of them are. Certainly.
I think you got the right to refuse any if you want to.
Okay. You guys feel like refusing some money today, or you want to take the high bidder? Again, it's 46.6 from Updike in Pennsylvania, 33,000 from R. Brooks Excavating in Stewartstown, 32,000 from Deprizio, 36,725 from Brownfield, and 27,000 from F&J Excavating. So that lines them up. Any thoughts?
Winner take all. I look at it.
A question. Jay,
Yeah,
did that guy from Pennsylvania actually see the unit? Did he come and see
he
it?
told me twice, and I sent pictures. He did call me twice. I'm a little shocked, I guess. I was expecting 30 to be the high number, as compared to other trucks we've traded.
Right.
But it is in really good shape. It's an automatic, which is huge money there, so apparently there must be some interest in it. It is in good shape. I mean, it's probably the best shaped trucks that I've ever had.
Well, given the fact that you were thinking low 30s, I mean, we also got a strong bid from Brownfield, and yet in all it was $10,000 less.
Yeah, I mean,
How serious is this? This bid is good for 90 days from the date of this letter, unless Updike Inc. agrees to extend the deadline. Signed by somebody whose signature I can't read. This came in over a fax on April 22nd. So,
I mean, it's a truck company that buys and sells probably specialized trucks. I mean,
are they brokers then? What kind of sense did you get from talking to them on the phone?
it seemed like it's just a truck and equipment sales place is what it is. I've heard of them.
All right.
Magazines
So they're big.
that sell all that stuff.
All right. Either one of you gentlemen care to make a motion on which bid to accept? Or shall I suggest that I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the bid from Updike Inc. in the amount of $46,600.
Just to give you guys an idea, the last truck we traded in was 20. 20 was what we got to trade in.
Okay. Is that a small?
Same,
Is that
basically
the
the same
same
thing. It wasn't as good a shape. It
Yep.
had some issues and had a lot more rust.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any other discussion on accepting the bid for 46.6 from Opdyke Inc.?
Well, I would think if he refuses, what we have.
Well,
Next bid down.
Yeah, I think we should definitely keep the rest of the bids on file here. If something comes up, then,
What was the other two higher ones?
next in line was Brownfield at 36,275. And then R. Brooks Excavating was 33. DePrizio Trucks was 32.
Right.
And
Yeah, I would say if they're not serious about it, I would say Brownfield would
Okay.
have it.
Can you follow through with them?
Yeah,
This
between
week at some
Julie.
point? And, yeah, Julie and Jay and see if we can close the deal on that. And if not, we'll go right down the list. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Very good. Great process. Obviously, you did a great job marketing.
Yeah, nice job.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't even know how they got it because it went out in the paper and it got handed out to local people. I had like 5 other people really interested. Stan Sabella was really interested, Ellie Drew was interested. Town of Tamworth, no, he's bought 2 or 3 other trucks. Tamworth.
Must be a Robert.
Robert.
Yes.
He was really
Yeah.
interested. There was like 5 other ones that were really interested.
Yeah.
Cool.
Excellent.
Nice.
Well, that makes
All right.
the deal you got even look better.
This is the hot topic.
Thank you, sir.
I'll give you one because it's pretty much the gist of the discussion.
Would you like me to just briefly read this?
You can if you want.
I
Yeah,
will then.
I mean,
It's pretty short. I'll just go right through it. Might actually expedite the process along a little bit. Jay, thank you for your patience. Now, this is from Milton Cap, and this is regarding the grader that had some motor problems. Thank you for coming, sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll be in touch.
Just for the record, if that deal does fall through, we will be interested.
Very good.
You'll be the first one we contact, obviously. Strong bid.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So this is in regards to the grader that had some motor problems over the winter. Jay, thank you for your patience during the engine repair for your grader and waiting for Caterpillar to let us know how they're going to participate. As I have said to you in the past, it does not appear there was anything that you could have done to prevent this failure, and there's no sign of lack of maintenance or operator error, and the engine ECM showed that. Don't know what an ECM is.
computer.
Okay. Attached is a brief summary of what was involved with the repair. Basically, you have a new engine complete. The total amount of the repair was $34,839. Milton Cat and Caterpillar portion will be $24,113.46. And the town of Jackson's portion will be $10,726.17. I'd like to thank you for your patience and cooperation through this long process. Your professionalism and calmness made the whole process smoother and easier to deal with in an extremely busy time of the year for you and for us. We consider the town of Jackson a very good customer. Hopefully we have met your expectations in an unfortunate situation. A more detailed breakdown of parts and labor and explanation of the repair will be forthcoming in the near future. Feel free to contact me with questions. Mike Robinson, Product Support Representative, Milton Cap. So that's
That right there is what you call dealer support,
and that came out yesterday.
and that is why we buy cat.
Okay. So,
Because we basically bought it, used grader.
mhm.
We knew, we talked about it right here at this table, that you know, we gotta buy $175,000 grader and we need to put 20 grand into it for some reason, then, you know, so be it. It's still way cheaper than a new one. We basically bought a used piece of equipment with no warranty, and they warrantied it.
That's nice.
That's pretty much as good as it gets.
So this is an FYI, there's no action required on us, he's just updating us on the status of that repair, and we've been questioned about it in the past.
Basically what happened was an engine valve broke, which happens, it's pretty rare on a 1,000-hour machine. You get up into around 8,000 hours on a machine if you don't adjust the valves. This is what happens. When we bought the machine, I specifically asked about valve adjustment. He said there's absolutely no need for the 1,000 hours on it. I had the same thing happen to a loader of mine with 10,000 hours on it. You break the valve and the engine swallows it. It goes through everything and pretty much destroys everything, and you gotta put a new motor in. Caterpillar, big Caterpillar, is actually on this big time because they want to know what happened. It is, because it's a new machine, like all the new stuff, and there's so many, there's 8 ECMs on that machine, 8 computers. Whether you buy John Deere Cat or what, all the new stuff is very, very expensive to work on. Just in comparison, we spent $8,000 respringing our oldest big truck this winter. Basically all 4 points of the truck. Leaf springs needed repair work, which is common in our roads. You get a 2008 truck, by the time you get around 2013, 2014, it's time to do springs. Different trucks lose springs at different times, but the carbon arc route goes through springs far more than the tire roll route. And it's got to do with the road and the speed it goes and stuff like that. So just in comparison, I mean, we had to pay $10,000 repair, which these days it is a lot of money, but it is in this type of equipment. So.
Do we have a warranty?
6-month warranty with a new engine. Yep. And it's pretty much everything. It's injectors, it's turbo, everything's new. So I thought that was pretty good for a bad situation, unlucky situation. They stepped up to the plate, and I plan on sending a pretty good letter to Milton Cat and Caterpillar to how well they treated us.
How's it run? Good. Maybe we should put a letter together. You guys, how do you feel about that? Signed by the Selectmen.
I'll put something
Thank you
together
for their professionalism
You
as
guys
well.
can sign it.
And obviously, I was very impressed to hear them mention how professional you were through the whole thing, so
It was difficult.
I think
It was
that,
rough, busiest part of the winter. And
probably worth it that you did.
Wasn't much fun, but everybody, including Drew, stepped up and immediately come up and assisted us with it. My father come up and assisted us with trying to get it on the trailer and get it out of the road and all that. So the mechanic from CAT, she says 0-degree weather, and we're outside for 2 days in Black Mountain's parking lot trying to hopefully we were hoping it was just injectors, but it didn't turn out that way.
Well, it worked out.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, I'm glad it's done.
And thanks for coming with the report. Appreciate that. What else you got?
One thing I got that we've been working on, I put together a policy. Me and Goody worked on it with me too, but not so much this, but we've been trying to get our driveway policies, our driveway permit stuff, and everything organized and in order for whoever the new inspector is. And everything, all this unknown stuff that nobody got the answers to, we're trying to get answered. So the way we've been handling it, at least ever since I've been here, on existing driveways, and how we deal with a driveway that's been in existence since before zoning. The way I was told to handle them by past selectmen was existing driveway, it's already there, will need a driveway permit. This has come up twice in the last year, Sonny's driveway and Evans' property up by Black Mountain Road. So what I've done is kind of put it officially in writing, so if you guys, I assume, would want to sign it, so it's an official policy that I can put in our driveway book we've got with all the ways we go about stuff. It basically says, existing driveways when documented or accepted prior to the adoption of zoning ordinance shall not require a driveway permit unless there is a change in use, major drainage issue, or other public safety concern. Basically, the way I was told to deal with it, it's the way we've been dealing with it. I don't know if you guys are in agreement with it. If you are, that can be the policy. Just trying to iron out a lot of unknown
Where's
stuff.
it gonna go?
They-
It's just gonna.
Everywhere, like I basically got a book that has got anything that we're finding regarding driveway permits, policies, the way we do things, so that it's,
Mhm.
building inspector will have copies of that. He'll know exactly what his responsibilities are, what our responsibilities are, what Vinnie's responsibilities are, the fire chief. We're just trying to get a lot of questions that have come up the last couple of years all organized out.
One thing that was mentioned in the board adjustment meeting, that I thought might be interesting to think about, was that with new driveways, if somebody comes up and wants to put a new driveway, a building permit should go together as one package, so the wheels are turning with all the people involved.
What we've done, what Goody and I have been working on all of this. And what he is doing is he's got a checklist on his building permit that's gonna have his driveway permit done and approved. So there is a process, and it's all spelled out. Goody's got it, I've got it, and we've actually changed it a couple different ways, making it simple, easy, and sensible. So that's been in discussion the last 6 months, pretty heavy. So, if you guys, that's just something that come up that I wanted to kind of officially put out there for you guys to approve or disapprove or whatever you want to do.
Okay.
I mean, we got a bunch of, well, that you can just leave it as an in-house policy, however, you know, whether you officially want to put your signatures on it, or, I mean, we've got a bunch of policies that we work by that's in a kind of policy book that I've made.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that needs to get a revisit. I think at one point it seems to be kind of needs updating, of course.
Yeah.
Like anything else, that, things change.
You know, there's 2005's procedures in there that were done then, there's stuff that we've done since I've been here. So you're right, someday the whole thing should get updated.
Right, put it on the website or something, make it accessible.
Tell me.
Any thoughts?
I looked at his book, we were in his office, and in other words, it just helps everybody understand what everybody's supposed to understand. In other words, it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't have to be, borderline policy signed by 60 people and all that. As long as there's some understanding, agreement that that's what he does. If there's a conflict, then he can say, look, this is what we've been doing, this is how we did it. But I don't think we need a big approval process and 5 signatures.
I think that's the difference between an ordinance and a policy, I'm not sure.
I don't have any problem with the way this is written, as long as, I guess my opinion is, let's not try to drive a new, 6 signature policy book that would require 6 signatures to change it. If he comes in and wants to change it, then let's have the liberty of moving.
I mean, that's the way, basically, what I've been doing. That's the policy that I've been working with.
Your understanding.
And it's in my book that way, and I don't see where you have to sign it. I mean, that's what a policy is, right? They can change.
Right.
It's just a matter of having the backup, so if somebody says, whoa, why are you doing it that way? Well, this is what, the way we run the place.
And the wording is that, this is the policy that will exist until there's an adoption of a zoning ordinance.
Like Evans is up here, when they asked about a driveway permit, I said, I basically go, it went to Goody come to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I basically said,
Mm-hmm.
no, you don't need a driveway permit. It's already there, it's been there forever. So the driveway permit part of it is, don't need it. And then,
I think it's smart to maybe have a couple of different readings of a policy when we look at policies. And when I call this the first reading, nobody sees any problems with it, I'll have Julie type it up and formalize it. And
the other little piece of it that's really got nothing to do with that, but just for a little bit of info for you.
Yeah.
What we've done, unless you guys have an issue with it, is road agent's responsibility basically is curb cut only, which is what a lot of towns do, which is like the first 10 to 20 feet of the driveway, which involves basically everything, almost everything that's on a driveway permit. Once you get beyond that curb cut and go beyond the 20 feet, it gets into fire access. So that's when you get into percentage of grade, bridge stuff, turnouts, everything that was discussed at the zoning board meeting last night. So that's fire access. All them those regulations come from the state fire code. That's where your authority, is. It's not the building inspector legally has no authority or rule book on driveways or roads. It comes down to fire access in the state fire code. So that section there, if like Couture's or someone else has a particular road issue, or Evans has a bridge issue, that comes down to the fire chief or his designate, fire inspector. The fire chief basically, in our case, the fire inspector is doing it.
So driveway, road agent.
Driveway insurance, road agent, fire access.
So it's important those two work together.
So that's another thing that we have listed out in these policies, so that when the building inspector comes on board, all this stuff is, he's gonna know exactly what his role is.
Is it,
Good.
get that formalized and give people a meeting to think about it and plan on making a vote on that at our next meeting. How's that sound? Okay, thank you.
Other thing I got is,
You want to take that back, or you want to keep, you work with Julie, yeah, pass her, get her on the action list.
breakdowns are killing me. Fire department, our breathing air compressor broke down 2-3 weeks ago. We came back from training and was gonna fill up our tanks on our Cascade truck, and the compressor was seized up. Basically, long story short, it was used when we got it, it went out pretty much then. I took it to Burlington, Vermont, to the company that, actually the same brand company that repairs it. He's gonna take it apart and see how that is. It sounds like we could repair it for anywhere from $2 to $7 grand. It's a $30,000 air compressor new. Even a brand new one is basically the same thing. If we can rebuild the one that we got completely, it'd be just as good as a new one, as far as I'm concerned. As far as a bunch of other people's concerned, not just me. If we can't repair it, we're gonna work on a grant to get a new one. So we're down on breathing air. We tried to put it through the insurance to see if it's insured. I highly doubt it will be, but it's going through that process now.
Milton Cat work on those?
No. The only other town in the whole valley is North County has a breathing air compressor. Nobody doesn't have one.
Bartlett.
Charlotte doesn't have one. So
How important is it for the turnaround on this thing to be operational?
It's going to take a little while, but that's all right. If we have to fill the Cascade truck up once down in Conway.
Okay.
It's not a.
So you've got to work around it until it's done.
It's just a little bit of inconvenience.
Yeah.
No big deal.
All right. So any idea when you'll get an estimate on the repair?
I'm expecting another week or two
Okay.
before I hear anything back.
All right.
Cleanup and sweeping is in process and almost done around the village. The other important thing I got, I called state DOT regarding the state aid paving,
Mhm.
and the fact that we voted in 30 grand this year instead of 20.
Right.
And they have actually agreed, which really surprises me, to put their 30 in, to increase theirs from 20 to 30.
You have that in writing?
I don't have it right now. Just that get relayed to me from Kenny.
Okay,
So
that's great.
that's,
That, Lord knows that Luke can use it.
it needs it, just not spending money.
You got ideas on where on that road you're gonna spend it? You and Ken work together on that,
That's,
right?
yeah, it's kind of mostly Kenny's deal. I think the section we're gonna do, everybody between him and us, is we're gonna put our 30 down with the paver when they're here paving. Somewhere between George Borash's house and the falls.
Mm,
We haven't
That's what we're gonna,
haven't
and that's
decided.
30K.
Haven't decided if we're gonna go from George Borash's south or if we're gonna go from the village north. I don't know.
Okay.
And he's planning on shimming with a grader, bunch by Chesley Farm Road down through there, that's really bad, and someone else here has some plans. So,
Okay.
One thing, you have to ask Kenny if they can paint the parking spots out by the covered bridge. They seem pretty faded, and coming up to the summer season, I know that people will be parking up there again.
that's a difficult discussion, I've had that discussion many times with the line strikers regarding the school and the school crossing. And because I've had many people who have come to me with complaints that the school crossing's not painted at school time. But the answer I always get from them is, it's on schedule and it'll get done, and the schedule says it'll get done. Problem is, every school crossing in the state of New Hampshire, everybody wants it done. Sure.
Now,
Yeah, or
Because it's all
in the
plowed
fall
out,
before
straightened
school
up.
starts. Well, every school can't get done at the same time, so it's on schedule. That's what I get for an answer.
mm,
Maybe the new anyway.
it's good to ask.
One more thing that came up actually today. What's you guys' feeling on, it's something a little different, I don't think it's ever been done, but the sidewalk from, say, the village to, like yesterday's to, say, the fire station here. That was like the first section of sidewalk that was built new back in '04 or so, '01, I don't remember when it got started. Looking at the option of maybe crack sealing it and seal coating it to try to maintain the
Give it a longer life.
yeah. Maybe a couple $1,000 to do that. The difficult part would be cool, ribboning it off so that when we seal it, nobody gets
Gets
on
stuck
it
in.
till it dries. But something that come up today, that I looked at, just curious what people's thoughts might be on it.
Mhm.
I don't think it'd be a bad way to spend a whole bit of money, try to extend the life of that pavement.
We're gonna be paving that 16 side anyway, so it might be a nice look, give it a little fresh look at everything.
Yeah, and then the following year, we could do another section, just something that came up.
You're thinking about doing that obviously before summer.
No, we'd have to do it in the middle of August when it's hot, so
That's what I was gonna say, obviously the middle of August you'll be doing that.
if we should do it. I don't know if it's done snowing yet.
I'll say that.
Yeah. Any thoughts on the idea coming out of town garage?
I gave it to you.
No,
I'll be my fault.
Good.
The timing of it.
Money well
would be nice.
spent maintenance wise, to prolong the life of that. And I think that's what
Yeah.
you're hearing.
Yeah, I think it'd be, I mean, yeah, I think it'd be money well spent. I mean, everybody in the public thinks too. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I defer to Jay, he knows more about it than I do.
Well, it's a
Other than that, I guess everything's on track. I'm getting paving quotes now. I've gotten one back, did 3 paving quotes. I do want to get together with you and ride around and see if our plan is the same as it was.
You mentioned it might be different.
I don't think it's gonna change at all,
Oh, okay.
because either way, it's all gonna get done.
Yeah,
So, one thing I am leaning towards is trying to do as much reclaim as we can do in the future, because shimming these roads just, the very next year, all the cracks and stuff comes back through, and that's what lets the water get in under the pavement. It's really good frostiness to it. Reclaiming seems to really help big time with that.
that's 4 times the cost.
Reclaiming is not 4 times the cost of shims, no.
50 versus 200.
No, I don't think it's quite 4 tons.
Okay,
I can't remember.
all right.
We definitely can't afford the box cut and do it right. I mean, that's
Right.
huge. That's huge.
Well, I think the town,
I mean, reclaiming's not perfect. You know, we've
Right.
had some sections that have held up really good. We've had a few little sections that haven't,
yeah,
but it's as good as it can get, I guess. Somebody else.
I think that,
Unless you want to pony up and do $1 million a mile,
Well,
all that stuff, but.
$100,000 that the town kicked in this year, I wouldn't expect to see that on a regular basis. So,
No, I don't.
You're the one that really needs to make
But
a
we're gonna get
professional recommendation.
caught up pretty good.
All right. Well, you and I will do our little town tour and see where we're at with that.
Oh, that's all the other thing. The money for the grader, I wanted to pull that out of the expendable trust fund, which has 10 grand in it. It was specifically designed for that reason, or something. I think it was originally designed for that big amount of money was in there for the engine for the 99 truck that we had that they thought was gonna have an issue. So I think it's a really good way to use that expendable trust fund money that's sitting there for that purpose.
Is it 10,726 in it? Or?
I think there's only 10,
10, I don't.
10 something, 10.3 or something.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate 10.
But that needs to be voted on by you guys, I think, right?
Yeah, if you wanna vote on that now, I can draw up the letter.
Thoughts?
I feel like it's above my pay grade that low, but I'd say use it.
That's what it's for.
Or sure, find out.
What's the name of the fund again? It's the
Expendable trust
for heavy equipment?
for lease, repairs, or purchases. But I do know, and maybe Gino can say, I think that was specifically
It was
for the
designated.
engine, so that's what it was,
I think so.
that's what it was designed for the engine replacement in the 99 truck that they thought might happen.
Did we put any money in that account this year?
No. And that brings up another question. When we talked about all these expendable trusts, there's a couple in there that was gonna get dissolved, that being one of them. And I guess my question is, should we keep it? And maybe whenever we can afford to, put some money into it, so we have it for that purpose.
Using this as an example of.
Yeah, like another example, there's a fire fund in there that was established back in the late 90s. It's only got like $1,000 in it that we were talking about. Don't even know why it's, what it was for, why it's there, I don't know. We could probably do away with that one. We were gonna, at some point, talk about this one, and we do away with this one.
All right.
But maybe it's a good one not to do away with, and over time, have a little bit of money in it, just in case.
All right.
So that's something we guys think about, I guess.
So, shall I ask if there's any interest in making a motion to use the money, the $10,000 in the expendable fund designed for the lease and repairs of highway equipment to be used towards the repairs of the truck.
So moved.
Second.
And you know the fund,
To use towards the repair of the grader.
the grader, right.
Get that wording on it.
Yeah, okay, as long as we know which fund we're pulling from. All those in favor? Okay, very good. Great job looking into that. Thanks, Jay, great report, appreciate it. Bartlett Rec Department, come on up with that. The issue here is that, you know,
Hi, I'm Annette.
yeah, Matt,
Hi.
how are you?
Good.
So, you're looking at having a soccer tournament down in the Jackson Field in the fall.
I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
No, it's about soccer.
I thought Julie had told me two things. One was that, maybe I got it wrong. Sorry.
No, that's fine. For the past 8 years, we've always had, Bartlett and Jackson have always, Jackson has always been welcome to join anything that Bartlett has, anything. It's just always been that way, even before I came. What happens in the fall is that Jackson has such a strong soccer presence that they've always had their own soccer team. So they've always played in the Carroll County Rec tournaments under my umbrella. And I've always defended that they, you know, they have their own, they have enough to have their own team, so why take Jackson Bartlett people together and mix them up on a new team when we can have a Jackson team and a Bartlett team and they play in Bartlett. So everything has gone well until this year when we went to the soccer tournament. I went to a pre-soccer meeting and they asked us if we would be having two teams, and I said yes, a Jackson team and a Bartlett team like we always have. They asked us what division they wanted us to play in, and I said, well, you can put us wherever you want, but I would strongly suggest that Bartlett being, we dominated this year, that we should be in the A division. And not thinking that they would put Jackson in the A division too. So we kind of left it up to them. After the tournament was over, Jackson was out in the first round. They lost against us, went down to Wolfboro and lost their second game, so they were out. It's double elimination. Bartlett went all the way to the end and won in that A division. The next meeting that the Carroll County had, I thought everything was hunky-dory. The next meeting they had, I couldn't make it. I had a conflict, so I didn't go. They voted at that meeting that I could no longer bring two teams to the tournament. And so I had clearly had some issues with, number one, voting on an item that was on the agenda that, that wasn't on the agenda.
Right.
Made a vote without it being on the agenda was my first worry. So I went to the next meeting, which was a couple months later, and told them that, this wasn't acceptable. I had gone back in all the minutes of the meetings of the past. In 2011, they brought this up, and it was clearly voted on that Jackson pays a fee to Bartlett to be part of our programs, and they would be under my umbrella. I said, it's always been that way. And they said, okay, now that there's some clarification, we're good with that. That was in 2011. Now, all of a sudden, they want to change the rules again. So I told them, I said, the next meeting, which is coming up next week, they would have to put it back on the agenda, they would have to vote on it, and if they voted that I had two teams to come to the thing, so be it. So over the past few months, and I shared this with Julie and them, my proposal to them is going to be that we now will have, I'm going to make a motion at that meeting to have a new rec department join Carroll County Rec, and that will be Jackson. So it will be, in their eyes, I mean, they're still gonna fall, everything's gonna fall under me just like it always has. But in order to have Jackson have their own identity at that one tournament a year, we'll pay the fee. And they're gonna have to vote on it. They have other towns that have joined in the whole bit, and I'll say, you know, this is the way you want it to be, I'll pay 2 fees. And now we have a Jackson Rec Department I'm the director of, and we have, and we have a Bartlett Department and I'm the director of. They would like it to see us join the 2 teams and cut, and I said that isn't what we're all about. Everybody signs up, everybody plays. That's what you do at the rec level. And I'm not going to be Conway or Weber or anybody else and have kids not play a sport that they love. It's all about giving them the opportunity to play, and it's about having fun. So I just wanted to share with you guys that that was my plan, because I didn't want you to hear something and say, oh my God, you know. So I just wanted to be clear that I am going to bat for, you know, the soccer program here, and I do believe, and it's always been that way, and it's always worked great. So there's no reason to change that, I believe. Does any thoughts?
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, we've always had our own identity and strong teams off and on through the years.
Right. And my other option was going to be is I'd take 2 teams. I clearly paid it to take 2 teams. And if they had a problem with them wearing, the other thing was, well, they can't wear the Jackson shirts. I said, well, what can't they? Well, they're under Bartlett Rec and they have a Jackson shirt on. I said, it doesn't matter. So if it comes to that, we're going to buy 2 shirts. They'll, I don't care if they have red, blue, I don't care what color they are. And the ones for Jackson will say Jackson Bartlett, and the ones for Bartlett will say Bartlett Jackson. So, I mean, no matter what, they're not going to, it's, to me, it's, so I just wanted you guys to realize that. And thank you guys for letting the rookies use the Jackson field. It really works out well to have them come up and on the bus, they get off here, the teachers, the coach meets in here, they walk down to the field 2 days a week, and that's really working well. We've done that for, I don't know, how long, 4 years now, maybe.
I think that was confusion in the mess.
That was,
yeah. So because they're using the baseball field for this season.
For the season, yeah.
And the insurance question came up. They've actually provided a certificate of insurance for us, but LGC, since we both have the same insurance, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But I did forward one along from Cal Ripken.
And that's what this is.
Yeah, and that's
This
that.
insurance, okay.
All right.
Excellent.
Any questions for me? And-
Oh, thank you, no, thank you very much. Appreciate you going with that. I'm sure most Jackson parents and students will
Well, yeah.
have our own identity.
Yeah, and I talked to, I think of the coach from last year,
Mark?
Yes, he was the coach, and he wasn't sure if he was coaching this year, but I did talk to him about it, and he seemed
Good.
on the same page, so.
Excellent.
All right, have a good
Great
night.
guy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for being so patient for us to get to
You're
you.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night, everybody.
You too. Okay, building permit report is agenda item number 7. Then we've got building permit. This is just an FYI here on building permit activity, James Mahood, Thornhill Road. Got a building permit in here. Gotta have a new chicken coop to house some chickens. And either one of you like to take it out to bed and see it, right, Maisie?
I'm driving nails in it, I'll get it, I'll wait for it.
And the other are just the email reports that he submits every week.
Building safety. Maybe this is your
I
action.
don't know, I'm really.
Continues to offer new challenges. All right, and educational opportunities. And just an update on Wentworth, just about ready for some rough plumbing and heating work, so that's coming along. General reports there. And something here from Burr Phillips. That's connected to the building permit folder. What's that one about here?
I think that was just,
Septic
oh, that
system
was just
design.
an FYI denied septic.
Hannah Properties, okay. Excellent. That's the report he used to, okay. Excellent. Need another $45 resubmit fee for that to be considered again. That brings us to new business. Request to waive interest and penalties on the tax bill is in regards to some homeowners that didn't get their tax bill in on time because the sale of the property had the bill going to the previous owners. And so it was not forwarded to them, so they never got the bill, and they would like some relief in the amount of,
I think it's right around $50. It was,
$32.59 plus 19, interest and penalties, 51 and change. Anybody have any thoughts on that request?
I thought I had bought a house recently, but I thought when you closed on a house, all the taxes and everything were all part of the sale agreement, and those were all paid.
Not always,
Really?
not in my situation.
Make sure everything was up to date, make sure the transfer was all,
That's
I mean, if you had 6 years back taxes, you're buying a house at 6 years back taxes, you didn't know about it.
But isn't this a new tax bill we're talking about?
It's actually, they bought the house, it says here, they bought the house in October, and the previous owner got the tax bill and didn't forward, so they never got a tax bill in December. So they bought it in October and they didn't get the bill in December. It's a first bill, I understand that, you know. I thought you would be paying all the tax, I thought that was part of the closing costs.
well, because when they buy the house, then it has to go down to deed and then you go to Jason. It has all these places to go before it gets in our system. And so it didn't go out with the December billing.
I guess the bottom line here is either one of you feel like the town should be accepting responsibility for them not paying their bill on time and waive their fee and interest. And neither one of you feel that way to the point where you're gonna make a motion.
I wouldn't make a motion, just for all the above. I don't, I mean, it can be a can of worms, and it's just one of those things. You're responsible for your property. I don't know what else to say. But you say, well, it's only $50. Well, the next one may be more than that. So I would, my opinion is I would not do it, but that's
Okay.
my opinion.
Anything to add to the discussion?
I think the responsibility should fall on the seller. That's who should be paying that bill. And I definitely agree with what you're saying. Anytime I went to a closing, it was right up to that day. And that's the responsibility of the seller and their attorney.
That's what I thought.
Might have been a seller that didn't have real estate agent.
And I agree with Bill. I mean, if you prove this, then what happens if you set precedents? And what happens down the road if there's a couple of $1,000 involved? Then you have to eat that too.
Moot point, unless one of you want to make a motion, we're going to move on to the next item, which is Town of Conway MOU for the Channel 3 viewing rights. This has come to us and it's already been signed by the Conway Selectmen. It's the same agreement that we negotiated and put in place with a $25 fee per meeting drop-off. We've got our 2-hour time slot now, and if we choose to have anything in town filmed by Valley Vision, the rate is $50 an hour. How's that working out so far, Hank?
It's working good.
Great.
Yeah, I've been dropping off the DVDs.
Good relationship there with
Yeah,
you?
and I've been working with Bill Edmonds, and he's been airing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been dropping it off. I'll drop this off tomorrow, and the other ones I dropped off also.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
And I guess the voters are happy because that's what they wanted. More, some meetings on Channel 3. And are you getting them 2 hours a week of footage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About that.
Were you here last night with the zoning board?
Yep.
Okay. Do you watch it?
I have in the past.
Okay. I'm just wondering because they had mentioned that time frame, there really wasn't any consistent information provided by the other town who was after us. So I'm wondering if when we give them more than 2 hours of video, do they show more than 2 hours of video?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
Because I spoke to Bill Edmonds and I handed him 2 DVDs, and one was 2 hours and one was 3 hours, and he said that was fine.
Okay.
So I assume that it's going to be more than the 2 hours.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. I'll wait until he comes back. It's basically we're going for a motion to sign the contract today. I'll bring that back up when he comes in. Old Library Management Committee is next up on new business. Did you guys want to come up or just kind of, we've had a few discussions over the phone. Yeah, we need a bigger table. But come on up. Love to have you.
It's just a cleanup item at the town annual meeting. It was mentioned that the agreement between the town of Jackson and the Protestant Chapel Association should be updated to reflect the use of the old library building. And Joyce Allen is president of the Protestant Chapel Association, and she forwarded some documentation from their files, which was passed on to the selectmen, and we view it as an issue between the town and the Protestant Chapel Association, not no library management committee issue. In front of you guys at this point.
Yeah, and the date on that land use agreement was, what, 1930 something?
34, the original one, I think. And the subsequent for raising the rent was 1978. I'm not looking at it, but that's my recollection.
Yeah. And I'm not looking at it either. So we started out a discussion around the old library management committee and the land use agreement between the town and the Protestant Chapel. People have recommended it's time to maybe engage in some discussion and update that. So we really don't have do we have a valid agreement in place that just needs to be updated, or really has that lapsed?
Did that say for 50 years? Not that in front of me.
I have it right here. I would say it's lapsed because of change of use. The 1934 agreement was renewable every 10 years, and nobody bothered doing anything about that. And then in 1979 was the next time it seemed to be addressed. And in 1979, the Protestant Chapel Association just wanted the selectmen to agree to pay $100 a year instead of $10. And that was just in a small note, as you saw from the paperwork that we dropped off. So in view of the fact that it's 2014 and the town has agreed to spend a bit of money on the restroom project, we need something clear to recognize that between the Chapel Association and the town, since it's a town building.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of vague. It's the past, 1934, 1979, and it's no longer a public library. It's a place where there's small meetings, and they seem comfortable with that, so.
Yeah, just a little more clarification. I think maybe it was about a year ago, Joan, when Burr Phillips had drawn up a suitable plan for the septic to go around the whole property. The Protestant Chapel Association agreed that that was okay. They found no fault with that, and a letter was actually sent to the old library committee saying that they gave them their blessing and good luck with the project. So the church at that time, or the PCA had no, I mean, they were recognizing at that time, if you will, even though it wasn't specified, that the use had changed. It was no longer a library. They realized that the old library committee wanted to use the building for various meetings and whatever, and no one objected at the time. So I would say the PCA is I don't think that they would create an issue, but we think it would be good for something to be drawn up, presented to the PCA, and then the their board of directors, if you will, and see what they have to say.
And the board is not just a local Jackson board of the church, it's the Protestant.
Well, the Protestant Chapel
Association
has a board of directors, which includes, the officers, and I could probably, if I count them, but there are a total of, I think, 5 members from the PCA that are on the board of directors. So and the PCA, the whole annual meeting, at the annual meeting, the board of directors was given authority to act for the entire PCA.
Okay. And so this would be something that we would want to prepare and come to some informal agreement on and present at their annual meeting.
Well, I think I can call a meeting of the board of directors. I know I can, and that's what I will do, is once you have that document, we'll call a meeting of the board of directors, since they are authorized to act on behalf of the whole PCA. I think that's all we have to do.
Okay, great. So next steps forward, so this is a different issue than your building project, but it's something the town's made clear we'd like to have in place because of the investment in the property, so I guess. Yeah, well, I remember coming up at the annual meeting, there was some people in the crowd, I think it was Peter Benson too, so there was some people on the committee, some people off the committee. It came from a number of different folks that this was probably reasonable and prudent to make sure we've got something on file that's up to date.
So I assume you have the original agreement on file, and you could just take that and update it, make it a little bit more lasting and formal.
Do we have the original document on file? Okay, I don't know that.
Should be.
But we'll probably.
You mean other than what I was given the other day?
I don't believe there's anything other than what you were given, Julie.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There's nothing other than what you were
Okay,
given.
okay, so that's the agreement, but I would just say go from there.
Okay.
And do we even need a lawyer?
Well, I think my questions are probably, I wonder if Health Trust is a resource to use to run this by and get some input on. And they may know of other town church lease agreements or municipality.
Could you repeat that? I didn't understand what you said.
I said they may know of some other town church, land use agreements that are in place, or have some experience at a category this might fall into with other towns that have land use agreements with private organizations in town, nonprofit organizations that may fall under the category of a template that's kind of standard language.
We actually already have sort of the reverse with the town renting the town hall to the historical society. So that could be a template as well.
That could be a resource, yeah, okay. Why don't we try and look into that and have that be the beginnings of a draft, Julie, get some input from Health Trust and any recommendations. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah, Health Trust is, yeah.
What's Health Trust?
LGC.
Health Trust is the former LGC. They're now,
Local Government Center.
Instead of a local government center, they're called Health Trust. So I'm sorry about that, yeah. I've been stuck in the LGC language too. I'm trying to get out of it. That's what that is. So they would be a resource for some legal advice on this, or be able to share what other experience other New Hampshire towns have had around this.
Well, I keep it
Sounds
just
like
as simple,
insurance.
I keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you know what you want from the PCA. PCA will want assurance that it's gonna be a use that they will approve of. And boy, I wouldn't go too much beyond that. I mean, it's like, again, talking about opening up a can of worms, you know?
Sometimes they have templates already made up though. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been in business for a long time and they've seen things like this before, so they might have something on file already. May not, but it's a good source to check out.
I'm sure, but it seems as though to just sort of amend the original agreement might be,
Another
part of the process.
Right. And I think that would be the starting point, is
Sure.
that they would see the agreement, let us know what they think about the agreement, and if it needs to be updated anyway. I mean, that is the simpler way forward for us when we deal with stuff. Simple is, free is simple, and they give us basic advice, and it's not gonna really put any kind of complication into things. It's
How
not-
long does that take?
They're very responsive. Our town office is
24 hours.
in contact with
24
them
hours.
3, 4, 5 times a week on different matters.
And they get back to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right, absolutely. They have staff on duty Monday through Friday, so it's
What
very
exactly
responsive.
are you gonna ask them?
I think that we would take the advice of your group here to, run by the original agreement. We've noticed that this hasn't been updated in a very long time. We have concerns, therefore, that we've been operating without a land use agreement. How does this one look to you? If we just updated this, does that make sense? What's your advice? And they, like most attorneys, give us advice, and that's very gray, and we would take it from there. I mean, that seems to be the logical starting point. I mean, yeah.
Just from a timetable perspective, we're still working on bids and stuff for the project.
Yeah.
We're hoping by the end of May, beginning of June, have that wrapped up, so we can come to you with contracts, et cetera. So we have the same timetable, that the land use agreement could be wrapped up before we start signing any of that stuff.
That'd be great. And have you, and you got the, our town council's response to the questions?
No, I've not seen any kind of
Okay.
council response to any
We have
questions.
I do have it, but I didn't,
Okay.
I think you and I were
They're
doing.
fresh off the press, really. I didn't have a chance to really look at them, but it was like
What
yesterday they
questions?
came to us. And so we'll, next point.
Questions?
What questions were answered by the town council?
Your questions, that original group of questions that you put together, Susan?
How many bids do you need?
Oh, good.
Yeah, all of that, we looked at it and said, well, this shouldn't be any big deal, and then we decided that we would go ahead and spend the money on our dime, like you and I talked about, to get that response, and it just came like late yesterday afternoon or something like that,
All
so.
right, we'll take a look at it now.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Good.
You guys have any problem with just getting his responses directly to the group?
No.
Would you get those out? Is that easy enough to do in the morning?
I'm not gonna be here tomorrow morning.
Right. I'll forward it out. I think you actually gave me contact information for the group. I know I emailed you and Susan today,
Yeah.
so I know I've got those 2 addresses. I'll mail them out to everybody.
Yeah.
You can take a look at them. Yeah. We spent some time on it,
Good.
which we thought was prudent.
It's always good to follow the rules.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Are we, the town of Jackson, are we presently paying that $100 a year?
Yes.
Yes.
We have been doing that for some time. So
Since
we're going to link on
1979.
Excellent. How does that work? Do we get invoiced every year, or do we just, do you have a record of invoices, or, I'm just curious, doesn't
Do
matter.
you know, I'm not all I know is the treasurer always says, we got $100 from Tom
Okay.
Jackson.
So it's,
And, so I don't know whether she invoices or whether it's just done.
I never remember us discussing it at any budget.
No.
Yeah.
No, maybe
you weren't around in 1979.
No, but I mean, every year, how do we pay it? come,
That's what come on the line
I
item.
don't
come on a
know,
line
that's
item,
even-
and I never saw a line item.
I never saw
I
the
don't
line
think
item
it shows
either.
up in the town report, I don't think it does, because Marge.
I
Yeah, we found it in the old.
Miscellaneous item.
Yeah.
All right, so,
Not talking about line items.
what else? Now, there was a conversation that took place around the wisdom of reappointing another old library management committee because this one lapsed, is
This
that?
one is not filled last on April 1.
And that's what we had here was the original minutes from that meeting in 2011 when the old Jackson Public Library Building Committee was formed. And it lapsed in April. Your sense is that that should be reformed through the life of the project.
I guess there's multiple ways of handling it. One would be that a selectman is involved, and therefore there is town representation. And then you wouldn't need another committee.
A selectman is involved with the,
The contracting for the project.
okay. All right. And if there wasn't a selectman involved,
I don't know how you would distribute the money without someone involved from the town.
okay, all right. So reforming the committee and also having a selectman representative on the committee, is that what you're saying? Or just
That I
a
can't
selectman
answer.
work with the old
I think
library?
it's just a selectman working would probably be sufficient.
Okay, and so is that really your group's recommendation? Just appoint a selectman to work with your group through the building project?
But I don't know the RSA's bill. You'd have to kind of look at it.
Yeah.
It's town money, so there has to be some sort of town responsibility. You just can't give it to private citizens or groups.
Yep. And I,
Only the selectmen can enter into a contract.
okay. Excellent. Yeah,
So did you feel that we need to reform the committee in addition to the old library trust, or not?
that was
That's the
a
question.
suggestion that
That's
came
what I
to
thought the
me
question
from your
was.
group.
I'm not sure. I think there are other ways of doing that.
Okay, so
Because
you've had
one
time
of
to
us
think
are here,
about
if you
it.
want to reappoint us.
So it sounds like Jones had time to think about it
It's
since
very simple.
we discussed it, and that's no longer her recommendation.
Committees.
So if that's
Two different groups of people.
no longer your recommendation.
I
we
just
can-
worry about conflicts of interest, two different committees
Mhm. Okay,
on the same function. So, again, I'm not a lawyer or looked into it. I
right.
want to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
It's a short, hopefully this thing will end by the end of the summer and not make it
Okay.
overly complicated.
All right. Yeah, the suggestion came from Joan to me during a phone conversation to reform the committee, but if there's a better way forward, we're all for it.
Right, I would be concerned about having two different groups of people trying to manage the same building.
Yeah.
I mean, that would also be a conflict.
Mhm. Okay,
It'd be hard.
I mean, whether it's me or somebody else, I just think
Yeah.
two different bodies stepping on each other's toes is
Mhm.
not helpful.
we're all ears, whatever you think is
So
gonna
either-
work for you.
Either we continue as both the trust and the old library management committee, or,
Well, we don't have town authority. We need a selectman to sign all the contracts.
Yeah.
That's the
Well, that's
involvement we
something-
want, yeah.
right, that's something else.
Uh-huh. Okay. So not looking to reform that committee then at this time after all.
Okay.
Okay, great. Looking for a selectman's representation.
The only thing I would say is I'm not gonna be here probably when these contracts come in.
Well, then we'll have you do it for sure.
Oh, okay.
Any thoughts on it, John? I mean, it's like it's down to you and me.
You
I'm
said
happy to
you were
work
gonna
with
get
him.
bids in at the end of May.
Also in my pocket.
When would you then want to make the selection to decide that? I mean,
Sure, but around in the May, beginning of June?
the end of June?
No, the beginning of June.
I'm not gonna be here.
Okay, great.
Soon.
Yeah, but you
got two more Perhaps you could just rotate, right? We have
Pardon
a
me?
meeting once a month, maybe you could just, ABC, 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 and
Just as long as we know who to go to.
then each one of you
I'd
has
be glad to be
maybe
able to
one
do
3-month commitment.
I'm going to their meeting Sunday and I'll get some clarification on it and doing a focus group.
Doesn't have to be too
Oh.
complicated.
Okay, excellent.
One of
I'll
us
tell
will do
you,
it, don't worry.
we can flesh it out between now and your meeting this Sunday.
We're meeting Sunday, yep, we have regular meetings.
Yeah,
You want to come up with, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Hey, we would like guidance on, transparency, documentation and
Right.
stuff. This is a town project and we just want to do it correctly from all
Am I-
perspectives.
Am I invited to your meeting Sunday?
Absolutely.
Okay, I sent that email out, is that gonna work? Okay, great. Well, I'll tell you what, between now and then, we'll get Peter Malley's documents out to you guys. You can take a look at them between now and Sunday, and that can, if that's on your agenda and you'd like to discuss it and figure out a way forward, I think maybe that's a good idea to lock in on that.
Sounds good.
We'll just want to make sure we, as selectmen, meet all of our legal obligations and all the authority invested in us and make it work.
Good.
Great, excellent. Anything else from you guys?
See you Sunday at 4.
Sunday at 4?
Yes, at the old library.
Yeah. Now, I talked about, I don't know if that's easier for you to talk do that focus group for 30 minutes before the meeting or make it part of your meeting that starts at 4. I'm open either way.
I saw you had sent an email, but I haven't been in to look at it.
Okay.
3:30? Do you want to come 30 minutes before?
Whatever your pleasure is, I'm fine with.
Okay.
That would work.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, 3:30.
See you at 3:30.
Sounds good.
Where are we meeting?
Oh,
library!
And
Almost.
we don't have a bathroom, so go be free.
Thank you. Almost got it on that. Thank you. I'm sorry, Gino, your hand was up.
No, I didn't know you were gonna be that involved. I thought if you just had them collect the plans and whatever, and bring it to the selectmen, and have the selectmen vote on what they accept.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
I didn't realize you would.
Well, yeah, and it almost sounds like we'll just be an informal liaison, and obviously the selectmen's meetings will be where.
You're the only guys that can actually make decisions all the time.
Will be made, and they'll be made in the public meetings.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, moving on. New business?
Oh, back to B.
I'm sorry?
This is B.
The motion
Letter
to
B.
MOU,
Letter B.
the MO of understanding.
Oh, that's right, you gotta go back, because Bill left. This is the Channel 3 Memorandum of Understanding. It's the same agreement we signed before, and this original comes to us already signed by all the Conway selectmen, except for Mike DiGregorio, who obviously wasn't at that meeting that day. So, I'd be looking to entertain a motion to enter into the Memorandum of Understanding between the Town of Jackson and Conway in regards to Cable Channel 3.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Is that the first motion you've ever made?
Yes, it is the first one. I let him have that one.
Any more discussion? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I'll enter in that this is on this first day of May, 2014. So if you go ahead and sign that, and we'll leave it in this packet and get it right out. Yeah, sure. That's huge.
Wow. Wow. These don't move quickly around here, that's for sure.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot all about it. All right.
Pleasure.
Great. Okay, so we've got the fiscal planning committee submissions. We had talked about a fiscal planning committee, and it is got membership. You're the selectman's representative on the fiscal planning committee. And that has also got Jerry Dougherty Jr. and George Howard. And we had 2 citizens step up and expressed interest in serving on the fiscal planning committee We had B. Davis and we had Bill Kelly. B stopped by and expressed interest, and Bill's email was, "Hi Julie, I'll be very interested in sitting on the new fiscal planning committee. Please forward my name to the selectmen. This is something I'm very interested in and concerned about, and I've been vocal about it. Selectmen and I talked a little bit about this at the close of town meeting. Hope all is well. And you're doing a great job. Thanks, Willis Kelly," sent from my iPad. And B, you also expressed interest. Any anything you want to say to kind of put your interest in the form here? Or? Interest?
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
Keep my finger in the
All right.
Hey.
So, gentlemen, you want to talk about the committee? I mean, we've got 2 candidates. We talked about 1 opening, and that's really as firmed up as we got.
That's true.
We can accept them both, accept neither one, accept one. What are your thoughts?
Dan, we talked about the size of the committee, and I can't remember. What was the size? 4?
5.
Since they're not voting on anything, the count doesn't matter.
Right.
Because it doesn't have to be an odd number. Just again, since this was my recommendation in the beginning, I would recommend taking both.
Okay.
And again, they're not voting on anything. They're only going to make a recommendation to, and actually the recommendation is going to be within the group because John's going to be there.
Okay. So it's John, Julie, Jerry, and George right now. Freddie, Pete, and Mo, Larry, Curly.
Me and Bill.
You want, so we put
Me and
both on
Bill,
there?
Sure.
Either one of you like to entertain a motion to place both those names on the fiscal planning committee?
So moved.
Second?
We just got him in a pattern
I'm
here.
sorry, I know, I shouldn't have lost the moment.
Any other thoughts?
We did, Tammy, our accountant from Crane and Bell, also said she would be willing to attend as well.
That sounds great. She's from Department of Revenue Administration. She works with municipalities.
She
on
was
lots of
recommended
fiscal-
by
Right, lots of fiscal
Tammy.
matters. From Crane and Bell. So that sounds great. Absolutely. I'm sure that'll provide some real clear guidance for the group. And as they'll have questions as they're looking at different.
So should I just coordinate a date?
Yeah,
Anytime?
that sounds good. That sounds good. Thank you. And thanks, B. All right. We have under new business, item E, some efforts moving forward to set up a tax anticipation note line of credit with Muskoma Savings Bank. And so we're really, the purpose is to get access to funds on quickly if we need it. What would it take right now to set up a tax
They
anticipation
said it
note?
could take up to a month,
Take up to
if you
a
don't
month.
have a line of credit already set up,
If we've got this line of credit established, it's there for us.
24 hours.
Did you hang up, Joyce?
No.
Oh, okay.
Bob, I thought we had a $200,000 line of credit with the bank.
A tax anticipation note, line of credit?
We
Any line of credit?
spoke to TD Bank, and we don't have this particular line of credit set up for the tax anticipation note.
You still.
We had a line of credit back
It did,
in.
Bill, it lapsed. It was,
So what
they do
bank,
not have one now.
so what bank are you changing to?
We're not changing.
No.
We don't have a tax anticipation note at this point in time. And the town office went out and sought banks' interest in setting up a tax anticipation note line of credit, and Muskoma Savings Bank
Where's that?
was the one that came in with the most appealing bid, correct?
Where is
Yeah.
it?
Mascoma Bank?
Yeah, never heard of them. I'm just asking.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's one up in Gorham, I know that.
yeah. They're around. I think there might be one in Littleton too.
No, that's what I meant.
Gino, your hand was first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a question because
several years ago, yes, we did have a tax anticipation note. But I think there are some rules that have changed in that type of financing request now that you might really want to be careful of. There's some certain ways you have to handle that ability to use those funds. And you can only use them on a certain occurrence. I don't even know exactly what it is, but you might talk to Warren Shoemaker, because I think he's got some information maybe on that. The other thing that I was curious about, before the town meeting, I spoke to, I think it was Dave Mason, and actually we were talking about how much money that we had in the non-expended fund category. There was something like, I think Dave said like about $1.2 million. That was in, in March.
Anticipated $1 million.
Unexpended. And I was just wondering why the board thinks you're going to need that. Is there something that's happened in our funds coming in that would have a problem for us? If we've got $1 million in there, I don't know why we'd be worried about being able to pay our bills. What else would you use a tax anticipation note for? I'm just curious.
Okay. Well, we can put together a more in-depth report for you at the next meeting if you like.
Anyway,
Kathleen, go ahead.
Well, I think because the fact, just to be on the safe side, because we don't know what's coming up, and to be able to get them, yes, and we won't be able to get the money quickly enough unless we go with another bank. And we have to set up an account. And the account, so if we need it, it's there. If we don't need it, we don't need to use it. We don't touch it. I mean, it's a very small amount that we have to put in the bank.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of,
Yeah, and it's just for
what we do.
safety's sake. It doesn't really do anything unless we need it.
Frank, your hand is up.
Well, I guess a couple. One, I guess we've done business with TD Bank before.
We're still doing that business with TD Bank, but all the new rules and regulations that come up with bigger banks, they don't deal with this anymore. Citizens Bank does not, TD Bank does not, because we've talked to the people at TD Bank.
I was about to suggest that it's probably preferable if whatever bank you go to offers the same services that you do business principally with one bank.
You need to go and make all the checks with us?
Well,
We're not changing banks.
but the bank that you deal with won't lend you money. That doesn't sound like.
Well, none of the big banks will do it because of federal rules and regulations that have come up.
Yes.
And you have to go through all this rigmarole and everything else.
TD Bank will do it, just not in the timely manner that if we have a line of credit that we'll set up every year, January 1st, as a safety, it's available to us, but TD does not offer the same turnaround time.
So TD, I mean, it's a line of credit. So TD Bank doesn't offer a line of credit then?
They do, but it's not the turnaround time. It would take like a month to get it.
That's not a line of credit then. I mean, a line of credit is something
These
you
are
use immediately.
Okay, so,
I guess I'm just suggesting that to the extent that you can develop a relationship with a bank that does everything, you might be better off than spending them around.
Thank you.
They really were not interested, and because not only did Julie
Oscomo Bank or whatever it is, the savings bank now?
they are interested in it, yes.
But maybe they're interested in the deposit business as well.
But it's too far to drive, to go to Little Town. We have to go, I have to make deposits within 72 hours. Okay?
So this bank.
And it's back to Littleton.
So are we ready to entertain a motion here to set up a line of credit for a tax anticipation note with Muskoma Savings Bank?
Could I just ask one other question? So this is a committed line, so they're promising to give you the money no matter what, or is it just?
We have to supply them with information, but we wanted to get approval to go ahead and follow through with this.
I guess I'm trying to say, there typically at least two kinds of lines of credit. Some are more certain that you can get the money. The others, the bank can say, well, yeah, we had it there, but now we've changed our mind. So you might want to investigate how committed the bank is to giving the money when you need it.
Well, when we get the information from them, then we'll give our information to them, and then we'll we'll have to come to an agreement whether it's good or whether it isn't any good.
I would make the motion, we set up a line of credit with this and still the bank.
Second.
I wonder if TD Bank would change their attitude if we were entertaining the thought of giving our business to this bank. I mean, I can't believe that TD Bank is not interested in helping.
So
us.
there's a motion on the floor, and I would invite anybody to provide any information, any advice and suggestions to Kathleen or Julie or whoever they want to on the matter. Up here on the board, does anybody else have any other input on the matter? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Very good, motion passes. And next up, under new business, we have a issue with delegating deposit authority. Kathleen has looked into this, and we're looking to put together, as we talked about last meeting, a signed form that would allow the treasurer to delegate deposit duties to police and selectmen. And we talked about it last meeting. You guys have any
Talked to
thoughts?
the police, no, I talked to the police, that was one of my assignments to
Right.
get that set up. So I don't have any other thoughts, I'll be glad to work and do it, I'm the one probably closest to get it done, we're all tied up, and I'll be glad to do it if that comes up.
All right. Unless it's June and you're out of town.
Well, I'm not gonna be going now.
Oh, okay. Any thoughts? Sounds good. Entertain a motion then to put together a delegation of deposit authority that includes police and selectmen.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. That's passes. We'll have Julie draw up that final form between meetings. And we'll go ahead and sign that once that's drawn up and finalized. How's that?
I'm sorry?
I said we'll have you draw that up and we'll
Fine,
sign it.
yes.
Just let us know when it's ready for signature and we're going to do that. Last issue under new business is just an FYI on a wetlands permit that comes to us from the Wetlands Bureau. Anything in particular we need to know about this wetlands?
It's slippery brook.
Right.
Yeah.
Way up at the end of Town Hall Road. Okay. Very
Way into the Forest Service. It has really very little to do with us.
That road is washed out somewhere up in there, what, about a mile past the bridge?
Yeah, I think so. So Irene did it, and they got federal highway departments giving them, the Forest Service, the money to rebuild it. So it really doesn't involve us so much.
Okay, great. Thank you. And we've got actually one other, this is actually under old business, but it's not on the agenda. It came in today. This is the redrafted Articles of Agreement for the ambulance service for the towns of Bartlett and Jackson, when we talked about neutralizing, making the language on it gender neutral, and taking the meetings down to from monthly or 4 times a year, whatever, down to 2. So this comes to us now as an original document signed by the Board of Selectmen from Bartlett. So I would, we've already made a motion to accept the language and to draft this up, so I really don't think we need to make a motion to sign it, do we? Last page. And then to the old business that is on the agenda. As we agreed, we would continue to post alternate position openings, and the one on the zoning board of adjustment we had a response to. We have a letter of interest that was submitted by Lee Allen to serve as an alternate on the zoning board of adjustment. And that would complete the alternate positions on the zoning board of adjustment, if your pleasure is to nominate him for that position. Either one of you care to make a
I'd
nomination?
love to nominate him for that position.
I would second that nomination.
No wonder you stayed.
I didn't realize it was on the agenda. Until I came here.
Maybe we should go into non-public and talk. Okay, well, all those in favor of appointing Huntley Allen as the alternate to the open zoning board of adjustment position, signify by saying aye. Aye. Very good, there it is. Huntley's in. So we'll need to get town clerk to draft up a letter and as well his oath. He's got to come in and take the oath, all that stuff. Okay, very good. Any other public comment? Yeah, Gino.
At the town meeting, in review of the expenditures between the school and the town, and I'm not an accountant, so I'm not CPA, it appeared to me that the school, there was an increase of about 18% in their expenditures over the prior year. The town, it appeared that the municipal increases without additional funds being put in would be about 34% more than the prior year, which would increase our tax rate at some point in the not too distant future about 25%. Has the board considered an infusion of capital at some point in the fall to mitigate the increase in taxes that look like that would be coming along?
Well, obviously, that's exactly what we formed the fiscal planning committee to do. Take a look into it and let us know what our options are. They're going to be looking at everything from different ways to fund fire trucks and highway trucks to taking a look at the expenditure fund and come back and make some recommendations to us. The voters voted in a lot of one-time expenses, from the old library to the extra money for the paving, and we knew all along that if those were issues that the townsfolk, the legislative body supported, that we would need to take a look at that. And that's exactly what the committee's going to be charged with doing.
I didn't mean to go over that because that committee that was formulated, I think it was at a meeting that I don't think the minutes went out, so that I didn't realize that. The only ones that I just saw some minutes this week, but, you know, they just went out, they weren't being sent. That's okay, that's good.
We're also planning on using some of the unreserved funds to offset the taxes that way too.
Yeah.
We did have 1.2 million.
Who's first?
Well, I was just going to, I don't know if you've gotten back to your email, but you were looking at a focus group, and I heard you speak to the old library committee. But you had emailed me earlier, and I replied later in the afternoon. And I just want you to know that we're meeting Monday the 12th and not the 5th. We moved our meeting, and not at 5:30, but at 6. So that if you, but we'll put you on the docket and make time for you. But the email's there, and we can squeeze you in around 6:30.
That sounds great.
But I just wanted to let you know.
Okay,
because
great.
you were trying to do that.
Excellent. Yeah, I was probably on my way here from my job. Cool. And that's all in regards to the March letter that we put together to kind of take a make an assessment of townwide communications, policies, practices.
You'll get that email.
Protocols. Yeah, thank you. Excellent. Frank?
Yes, the couture building permit, of course, went through ZBA, or was discussed at ZBA yesterday. And as a result of that discussion, and at this point now, I'm just speaking individually and not representing the ZBA, it occurs to me that the current process in which we seem to treat the driveway permitting process and the building permitting process as two entirely separate processes potentially leaves us open to at least misunderstandings, as I think, Bob, you're aware. in the Couture case. And I would encourage you to think about somehow coordinating those two processes or making them happen at the same time to avoid the kinds of misunderstandings that we seem to have there.
I had mentioned that to Jay earlier, if you weren't here, you missed that section there, but I picked up on that. And Jay and Judy are more vested in working together on that issue now.
And I think it's also a little bit unclear who's actually responsible for enforcing the driver standards.
I thought it was the highway department.
Or the
That's what it's always been.
We always actually went over that earlier in the meeting as well, and that's those are all state fire ordinances that are about the driveway from the road cut in. And that's the great thing about, getting all those folks working together and coordinating all of that.
Sorry, repeat.
No, it's
Glad you mentioned it.
just verifies how smart Bill Lockhart is, because he was the one that recommended it. Any other public comments? All right, very good. We'll take a motion to adjourn. Or move into non-public, rather.
You were slow on that one.
He's still trying to figure out what